Hello, this is Chaplain Bryan, and I'm here with Special Police Officer Darren Hamman of Children's National Hospital. And this week we're here taking a look at Security and Safety Week in hospitals around the country. And it's a week that we use to celebrate and highlight the service of those who keep our hospital safe in many ways. Physical security, as well as cybersecurity for our patients, families, staff, and even medications. So I just want to start by kind of asking a little bit about who you are and your connection with Children's, and how would you describe what you do here?
So I've been a special police officer for Children's Hospital for almost 4 years. Well, just 4 years, 4.5 years, excuse me. And what my role is in the hospital is to, monitor, protect, and just oversee everything and anything that seems out of place. And to also make sure parents and visitors and patients, and especially our wonderful staff here, feel safe when they come into the hospital.
Okay, so as we get started, there's a lot of things that you do here at the hospital, and I don't believe folks understand all that entails. So I'd like us to go into that a little bit, but before we even get into all your roles here at the hospital, I want to ask you a little bit about this name, because I see Special Police on your uniform, and that's in your title. What does that mean? How does that relate to police in general?
So we are an extension of the Metropolitan Police, MPD, Metropolitan Police Department. We are commissioned by DC to protect a particular area of of DC, which is our facilities, anything that is children related, from cyber to physical security. And that's pretty much what a special police officer is, which we call an SPO. And that pretty much sizes up what that means.
Okay, so that sizes up what the title means, and
Yes.
basically you kind of work within the jurisdiction of the grounds of the hospital.
Absolutely.
And in any of our outpatient facilities, things like that?
Yes.
Okay.
And possibly some of our garages and things of that nature.
Okay, yeah, so basically the properties of the hospital.
Yes.
Okay, but that doesn't entail all that you do. Because I've seen you all at work in the hospital in a lot of ways, in some ways that a lot of people might not expect. So could you maybe give us an average day in the life of Officer Darren?
So mostly my start of a day is just making sure everything in each floor is okay, making sure that we are on top of the things that we go through in our own personal pass on, i.e. roll call. Mm-hmm. And just making sure the building is intact. You don't want to miss anything, or make sure people are following our hospital guidelines and procedures as they were given, and just to give people a friendly reminder of why we're here. Not a lot of people understand that, and seeing us in uniform sometimes can be a little bit off-putting to some, but what I like to do is try to make them understand that we're here to help them, and for us to have a common ground to make sure their parents, staff, and everybody else feels safe when they come into this hospital.
Okay. And a little bit before this video, we were having a conversation off screen. I kind of wish we had been doing it right in front of the camera, but you were talking to some of the folks in family services about compassion. How does that play into your role? And it definitely plays into your personal character, but how does that play into your role as a security officer?
Well, I'm definitely all about our 3 C's here at the hospital, and as along with all our other officers here. But compassion is one of the things that people sometimes forget is supposed to be hopefully embedded in us, but it's not easy. I feel as though when people come in here and you're waiting long, or your child is in distress, or you're just trying to find a family member, sometimes you have to, as an officer, step outside of yourself, still be in that presence, still be that sturdy force, but at the same time, be in their shoes, see where they're coming from, understand what it is that you can do within our power to make sure that their needs are met and we're still following guidelines and being respectful to one another.
Now, you say that as if it's just something that, you just do. But as a chaplain, we run into you all in some of the larger like crisis situations in the hospital, emergencies, traumas coming in, or emergency situations where things aren't going well with a patient. Now, you do what you just said, which sounds like something everybody can do in day-to-day life, but you do it in extreme circumstances. How do you cultivate that? How do you go about being that secure yet kind of calming presence? How do you put that?
You just have to reassure families and staff that you're still one of them. At the same time, just kind of be on the line of, hey, I want to be, I don't know if the word empathize or so some sympathy to them, because you can never really fully put yourself in someone's shoes when they're going through a grieving moment or a moment where there's a level of uncertainty. But just listening is the biggest key. Our biggest thing is, in most security settings, is observe and report. So as you're observing and something, what is their body language? What is going on with them? What can I do to help in the situation? Is it me that's causing a level of discomfort? Should I back off a little bit? Those are the things. If you can't find the words, sometimes it's silence is golden, and seeing if somebody else within our group is able to make sure that they're okay and safe at the same time. So that's pretty much kind of how I look at the emotional part of it and empathy and everything.
Okay. Now, I've got kind of this kind of dual thing going on in my mind. I'm thinking about, what do you think most people think of when they think of you being a security officer here at the hospital? And then maybe what's on the flip side of that? What do you do behind the scenes that people don't really realize that y'all do?
Well, people look at us in uniform, and sometimes it could be a little bit intimidating. Some of us are really tall people, and one guy called us brutes. And so
some of y'all pretty stacked.
Yeah. So it what we do behind it, but what most of us, if not all of us, do is kind of just, if we have a special relationship with a patient or a family or staff members, come up. You can't see my smile through the mask sometimes, but share a friendly, gesture of, hey, how are you doing? Checking in, and just making sure people know that you're not just there to tell people what to do. You're there to make sure people understand that you care. That's kind of why I got into this field, because I can do what I love to do in terms of security, but also be able to sometimes be a chaplain, sometimes be a social worker. Sometimes it happens where you're an EVS employee, and I can't go as far as being a doctor. So it's those little areas that sometimes get overlooked is the part where I like, where my job is not just trying to enforce a rule, is to show you that we're in this together.
So you have enough flexibility to kind of step in and kind of support the rest of the team and kind of fill in the gaps sometimes, and as we're trying to make the best we can do in an imperfect situation.
Yes, because if sometimes you guys are dealing with a multitude of things on each floor, and sometimes it's good to have one of our fellow officers we have a lot of them that are amazing. Everybody's amazing, excuse me, and can have a special skill. Everybody comes in and they're able to speak to something, or just a calming presence. Some people, some of our female colleagues, my female colleagues, are amazing. Some kids gravitate to the mother figure or sister figure, in that in that role, and they do amazing. Some things that I can't do to calm a child, and then sometimes it's a older male or someone from a different culture that doesn't understand certain things, and you bring certain people in to just kind of fill that gap.
Okay.
And that's what we have. We have a very diverse group of people that can kind of fill in gaps where myself sometimes can't even, as great as I would like to think I am, can't fill.
Well, I think you're great too.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Some people say others, but I appreciate it.
No, honestly, that's when we started talking about this. I really wanted to bring you in to be able to kind of get a perspective from your staff, just to kind of celebrate what you do, because we can't do our work here without you providing the environment where we can work safely and with folks in, like I said, some very difficult situations. But so tell me about behind the scenes. What's the secret life of security? What are some of the things that y'all do that aren't necessarily celebrated or may not be front page news, but keeps this place going?
Sometimes it's just more so a sacrifice that you have to go into. You come into a workplace every day, and there's not I'm not saying it's a crazy environment, but you don't know what you're walking into. And depending on the day you might have had, you have to compartmentalize that experience from home or wherever you're coming from and coming here and be as professional and as courteous to others. So people who say, oh, day in the life of security, when we come in here, sometimes we might need that big cup of coffee or a moment of meditation before we come in here, because sometimes, as you know, we are still human, go through our own trials and tribulations, and have to come in here and be as professional and as courteous to everyone as we can be. As I was pretty much, I guess, stated in the beginning, that's showing them compassion, because I might be going through what you're going through.
Yeah. Well, and I think you really hit on something there, because you see somebody in uniform, and sometimes it's hard to look beyond that uniform and realize there's a person behind there, somebody that has everyday life at home, that's got kids, that has family, that has bills, that has all the 10,000 other things we've got going on as well. You talked about compartmentalizing that, but I'm wondering what's the toughest part about being here for you?
So I have a child. So whenever I see a child in distress, or see a grieving parent or a parent that's just going through a day, that's the hardest part for me. When I didn't have a kid, I was more so lackadaisical in that area, still compassionate, but wasn't really understanding. And then I had my own family, and so when you come in here and you see certain things, and you start to really want to appreciate your own family and the help that they are in, but at the same time it's really challenging, because there's nothing you can do for them, for the families and anybody else that's going through something, outside of just being a presence and hopefully a calming shoulder to lean on or someone to talk to. But that's the hardest part for me, is just kind of
just when it literally hits home.
When it hits home and you're like, I need a moment. Let me come off of my post and go somewhere to call. I need to call family. I need to make sure they're okay. I need to call my wife or call a family member to just make sure that one, that I stay level-headed, and that that I can continue on to this job, because it's hard for a lot of us to want to come in here and want to do a job that sometimes can be taxing, but still rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. So let's get on to that reward. What's the most rewarding aspect of being here for you? What makes you come back every day?
I'll say the families. I've connected with about, I don't know how many, but a lot of families. And whenever they unfortunately come back here it's the familiar face that they see from me, and then it's, hey, how are you? What can I do for you? That's the rewarding part for me.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to celebrate a kid's birthday or bring in a toy that could change the outcome of their day. You know, I have a lot of young friends that come in and they're like, hey, can I just walk with you? Walk them through what's your day in the life like we're talking now. Just tell them what I do, let them open a door or two that is, you know, appropriate to open, and, you know, just letting them feel normal for a change. A lot of kids coming here, families coming here, they're here for months.
Yeah.
So when you come in, as I'm doing my patrol, if you say, oh, what are you doing? We're talking, you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
I got about 3 minutes. Let's go and do this. Let's go do a walkthrough. I did that with a few kids and families and say, you know,
Kind of let the kids shadow you a little bit?
Shadow me, let them open the door, let them, I have never let them use my radio, but they always ask. But I was like, you can open that door over here. Here's this. This is what we do. And they have a kick out of it. Go buy them a little toy badge and let them, you know, say whatever they believe cops say. And it's rewarding to me, you know.
That's
I have
cool.
fun with that.
That's cool. That's good.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just, I guess that sizes up, you know, what that's about.
Okay. All right. Well, I on behalf of chaplaincy services at the hospital as a whole, I definitely want to say thank you to yourself, to the entire security team for all that you do for us here. The things that we know and the things that we don't know, the things that others will acknowledge and say thank you for, and the things that will never get mentioned. Yet you made a vital contribution to the life, the safety, and security of folks around you. So, whether you're a sung hero or unsung hero, I want to make sure that you hear our sincere thanks in that.
We greatly appreciate you guys, and thank you to the hospital for giving us the opportunity to make a difference every day. You know, it's a great pleasure for all of us in our department that loves to serve. So thank you guys for acknowledging us.
Well, thank you for coming out and talking with me.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.